History remembers kings, but what about the queens it forgot? The women who wielded power, commanded armies, and changed the course of nations, only to be erased from the books? Today, we uncover the story of one such queen, a ruler whose name you probably don't know, but whose influence shook empires. Her story begins in a time of chaos, a world dominated by men, where every decision she made could either elevate her to immortality or erase her completely. Imagine a young girl, born into royalty, yet overlooked. Her father, her advisors, even her people, doubted her potential. And yet, against every expectation, she rose. Not through inheritance alone, not through marriage, but through sheer cunning, courage, and intellect. She built alliances that even kings envied, negotiated treaties that shaped borders, and wielded power in ways that would later terrify the chroniclers of history. And yet, when her reign ended, her story vanished. There are no grand statues, no best-selling biographies, barely a footnote in the textbooks. Why? Was it because her enemies wanted to erase her? Or was it something even more sinister, something that still hides in the shadows of history? Today, we shine a light on the queen history tried to erase. She ascended to power at a time when women in leadership were considered dangerous. Every decision she made was scrutinized, every victory questioned. Yet she prevailed. She reformed the army, strengthened the economy, and expanded her territory. Her name inspired loyalty, and her enemies feared betrayal. But the most remarkable thing was how she wielded soft power. Influence over diplomats, charm over adversaries, a mind sharper than any sword. So, if she was so powerful, so brilliant, why did history try to erase her? Some say it was politics. Her rivals wrote the chronicles, controlled the stories, and deliberately buried her achievements. Others suggest it was something more unsettling. Her very existence challenged the male-dominated narrative of her era. To admit her greatness would have meant rewriting the history they wanted you to believe. During her reign, she transformed her kingdom. Taxes were fairer, justice more balanced, and trade routes flourished like never before. She championed education, funded scholars, and even commissioned scientific experiments. Yet, the textbooks rarely mention these reforms. Instead, she became a cautionary tale. Stories twisted her ambition into arrogance, her diplomacy into manipulation, her victories into luck. History has a way of rewriting women's achievements, especially when power scares those who write the story. And then there are the rumors, secret correspondences with other rulers, forbidden romances, alliances so controversial, chroniclers feared printing them. Could these whispers have been the reason her memory was scrubbed? Every document about her reign seems to vanish, until a few fragments remain. Letters, decrees, and coins, cryptic scattered clues, hinting at the woman she truly was. Piecing them together reveals not a queen defeated, but a force of history itself. Think about it. How many stories like hers remain hidden? How many queens, leaders, and innovators have been silenced simply because they didn't fit the narrative of those in power? Every fragment we recover, every artifact, every forgotten document, is a rebellion against the erasure of history. And it forces us to ask, what do we accept as truth? And who decides which stories are worth remembering? She was a queen who commanded armies, reshaped nations, and inspired loyalty in the hearts of millions. Yet, centuries later, her story is nearly invisible. But here, today, we reclaim it. Her name may have been erased, but her legacy endures. And perhaps the question we should ask ourselves is not why history forgot her, but what stories we will allow history to forget next. If you found this story as shocking as it is inspiring, if you want to uncover the real stories behind history's forgotten leaders, there's so much more waiting. Subscribe and step into the shadows of history, where the truth is far stranger than fiction. Because some stories demand to be remembered.